How to make progress faster. Look, if you're trying to improve your health, you're trying to move forward with your strength, you're trying to strip back body fat, you're trying to show up with more energy, you're trying to be more productive, more focused at work, or being able to recover faster and be able to show up better again tomorrow. In today's training, what I want to walk you through is the PPR formula, which is going to walk you through a new framework to help you progress in the space that you care about. If you don't know me, my name's Ollie. I'm the founder of Body Reset. We've worked with thousands and thousands and thousands of busy professionals and business owners over 40 to get their body and energy back on their side. Now, this has a ripple effect, right? If this is in health, this is work, relationships, this framework is going to help you in all of these areas because it fundamentally is the core of progressing in a way that allows you to get better from past learnings, past failures, past wins, and all of the data that comes from the effort you're already putting in. So this simple framework or simply way to look at problems will be a way to get you into the 1% of people progressing, get you into a space of people that aren't constantly hitting up against the same wall, but rather feeling like they're making progress. They know where things went wrong and they know where to find the next answer. So what I'm going to share with you is really a breakdown of what we call the PPR formula, which stands for performance, preparation, and recovery. And this becomes a way to really look under the surface beyond simply how do I perform harder, how do I put more effort in the moment, and more of a focus into, okay, when we really break this into more of a methodology and a consistent framework that I can continue to fall back on to improve how I look and feel and really show up a different way. I think this really is that, because rather than, sitting there chopping the tree down with a blunt axe, this is your ability to step back and start sharpening it. And the famous quote goes something like, look, if I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. And I think most people miss that in today's society and really take the time putting in a lot of effort. And these are people that have the desires to achieve, the motivation to achieve, the people that really want to succeed, yet they shoot themselves in the foot by not taking that time to analyze the data that's already going in. So what I want to do, let's break this down into just a little bit more of an awareness of what this really means. So the big thing, and I want to use the analogy of really the F1, so a racing team that allow us to look at really the pinnacle of some of these sports where they're putting millions behind showing up and having that performance on the day. And one of the big things that we're starting to see, and you can use any sport you like, is that they literally spend all week analyzing the data, right? So this little piece here, we're taking the time to see how could we get a fraction of a second better on this corner or on the exit or, whatever that process might be. It then allows us to go into recovery, or in this case, it's more like analyze, right? Taking the time to really refine that data, really understand what that's telling us to look at that recovery portion a little bit differently. We then take the time to learn, revise. There's no point looking at the data if we're not actually going to see things improve. This allows us to repair. Are we making a tweak to the suspension or the tires or the aero or simply the driver input, to then really make sure that we've got a clear plan and we can actually visualize what that looks like to show up on the day, right? When we do these things, we take the time to take in these variables, then performance on the day takes care of itself. We already know what we need to do. We simply need to execute on that data. And it gives us so much more confidence in the result because we've got all of that time and preparation and recovery behind us. Now, if we're going to apply this more directly to health, then let's look at 2 examples that I want to share that we look at on a very regular basis. The first one might be nutrition, right? We're looking at trying to strip off some body fat. We want to see some changes in our waistline. So we start to tighten up on our nutrition. Maybe we're counting calories. Maybe we're just simply watching our portion sizes, and weeks go by, but we start to feel like, yeah, there's a little bit of weight loss, but I'm feeling really sluggish. I'm not feeling healthy like I thought I would from going through this process. Until we take the time to really analyze that data, what did we eat? When did we eat it? When were those energy dips coming through? We're like, look, these 3 days I had oats at lunchtime and I felt sleepy an hour or 2 afterwards, right? That starts to be that analyst piece to be able to make those tweaks to where are the areas that I can actually improve. Well, it's actually not a caloric amount at this point, but there might be a slight sensitivity to oats, right? Now, this is in most cases, this is just actually a personal example. I don't do too well off oats, so there's a fun fact for you. But it allows us to then reassess the nutrition plan, make that small swap in our meals, and not feel like we have to rely on caffeine in that afternoon to really get the energy out of that day, right? We've taken the time to analyze, we prepare our meals differently, and the performance takes care of itself on the day. We no longer have that energy dip in the mid-afternoon. One more example, we look at this through an exercise base. We work really hard, we lift the dumbbells, we try and increase our weight, we progress, and we feel like we're getting a little bit stronger, but now we've got this really sort of annoying niggle in our shoulder and our elbow, and things are just aching and creaking and not feeling so good, right? We can choose to keep pushing harder and harder and just work through the pain, which I don't recommend. We can take a week or two to recover until it feels okay, get back into exercise until it flares up again, and then rest, recover, and do it all again. Or we can take the time to film the exercise from the side and really see how we're executing that motion. We send that to our coach. We could start to see that actually your shoulder's going up at a janky angle, you're not stabilizing your scapula, and that's why you're damaging those shoulders, right? You're putting half the tension on your chest and you're putting the rest through your joints, which, by the way, I see all of the time. Pay attention to how you move, don't just lift more weight. That really allows us to analyze the data, really take that time to not just step back and rest for a week, but actually improve our movement. Take that time to look at preparation a little bit differently to then show up the following day, right? So it gives us this lens to look through to really improve how we show up on a regular basis. And if you want to progress in a smarter way, you want to be able to consistently show up, then using this methodology of PPR really is just a simple way to do the things you're doing, but through a thought process of how could I do this smarter? And if I want to perform on the day, I need to emphasize more that preparation and recovery piece. And when I do, performance takes care of itself. That's the one phrase that I really want to stick in your brain, because when we do it, it takes away this big magical idea that if I put in this one big effort, everything's going to improve, but rather the tweaking and tinkering and refining of those details behind the scenes in every endeavor that really leads to a much better outcome, right? I see this in business, I see this in my relationships, I see this in my health, is the ability to step back, pay attention to the little details, see where I can refine, improve, and take the time to visualize how that thing could be better. It might change my communication style. It might change how I approach a particular exercise or food group or team event or tricky conversation, because I'm taking the time to learn from past mistakes, learnings, failures, wins, all of the things to make sure that on the day I feel more prepared. And I think most people will go into a space where they're so busy and so run by their day that on the day they simply have enough time to show up and do their thing, right? And this is where a lot of the trainings we've done previously on time blocking and taking that time to really anchor in for you isn't just the workout and nutrition. It's taking the time to set yourself up for your day, analyze where you can fit you in your day and your calendar, how you could restructure your day to get your best work done, to not constantly feel like you're fighting fires, or start to assess your wind down routine and start to see why you're tired at mid-afternoon and then you wake up and you've got energy at 8, 9 p.m. when you're supposed to be going to bed, right? You're feeling tired but wired. All of these things are patterns and they give you so much data to improve how you show up, improving your health. And it's a nice assessment tool that for me as a coach, looking at improving one's performance is a framework I use all of the time. And I wanted to share that with you as a basic starting point. So in the next couple of weeks, there's a short chat one to simply assess if there's a problem that I keep solving in the same way. What's the data I'm not analyzing and how can I prepare differently? That's simply the theory. It allows you to sharpen the axe, and I think you'll have an easier time chopping down that tree. So I hope you have an amazing week. I hope it gives you something to really think about in a bit of a different way and just sharing some cool thought processes that we're using inside our world that's really making quite a difference when it comes to that calendar, when it comes to improving your health and really the ripple effect on every other area of your life. I hope you're having a great one. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.